Welcome back to CryptosRus. I'm George. We're all George. We have some great crypto news, though, especially when it comes to Bitcoin. First of all, this is pretty big. SEC drops the Binance lawsuit. I thought this was already settled because CZ already served some jail time. And plus, they paid $4.3 billion with the US government. Remember, they had this whole like press conference thing. There's like three major agencies say, oh, we won and blah, blah. It turns out they never dropped the lawsuit, even though Binance went through all this. But now they finally are. They're finally dropping it. Again, it just shows that the SEC is changing their enforcement rules, I guess, right now, while they're trying to figure it out. This is very positive. Very, very positive because, again, I think most of you guys know, under Gary Gensler's rule, projects, anything that related to crypto, projects, exchanges, right, leadership, all being sued left and right, really given no warning at all. And even if you do make a deal, somehow you could still be investigated. It makes no sense. But now things have changed in a big way. It's like it's starting over. It's like starting fresh. One of the things I've talked a lot about at the conference with people is this, the 180 of the SEC and how this is going to open doors in many, many ways going forward. It's a really big thing, and projects that have been afraid of like working in the US, they should all rethink their strategy. They should all come back, right? And because of this, obviously, CZ couldn't help himself and posted this out, mocking Gary Gensler, as he should, because now, everything's dropped. If Gary Gensler wasn't in charge for the last 4 years, Binance probably would still be doing their thing, and CZ probably did not have to go to jail and all this stuff, right? So obviously it makes sense. And here's something else too. All right, now on to some really good stuff besides the SEC. You have Cantor Fitzgerald, who's Howard Lutnick's old company. They unveiled a new fund that's Bitcoin with the potential of Bitcoin with no cap and has built-in gold protection, which is quite interesting. So basically, it captures all of the gains from Bitcoin, but if there's a downturn, they'll load it up with gold to protect the downside. I don't know how exactly it works, but it is like the first of its kind. And again, these kind of products are for large institutions, large amount of like institutions and companies and funds that have enormous amount of money. This product is like for them, right? You get the downside protection, but the uncapped upside position of Bitcoin. So pretty darn good. Also, you have a Reform Party leader from the UK that is also proposing a Bitcoin reserve and capital gains tax cut if he comes into power. I don't know anything about how likely that is, but because of the US, because of the moves that have been made, other countries and other political leaders are paying attention. These I guess, new notions are starting to play out. You're hearing about it around the world from politicians to obviously CEOs to everyone in between. And this, of course, is very positive. We didn't really hear about this at all in previous cycles. This is new. This is also new. Those of you guys that are into football or AKA soccer, PSG becomes the largest sports organization to hold Bitcoin treasury. Now sports leagues are getting involved in addition to everyone else, right? We know Sailor and Strategy is going to keep on going. Metaplan is going to keep on going. And the miners like Mara is going to keep on going. But you got sports leagues now. You got countries. You got everyone that's getting involved. And Tether is one of those companies that really shouldn't be involved, but they are. They're stablecoin issuer, the biggest in the planet. And you know what? But they're loading up on Bitcoin. They have been for quite some time. And they're loading up on gold now. It's amazing. They have 100,000 Bitcoin now in their reserve and 50 tons of gold. I question whether or not they actually have 50 tons of gold, or they just like have 50 tons of, or equivalent of paper gold that's equivalent to 50 tons of gold. That's probably more likely, because most people do not have a way to store 50 tons of gold. But maybe it's not as much as it sounds. Gold is pretty heavy. I don't know. 50 tons still sounds like a lot. But anyways, here's a clear example. Tether is making money like, hand over fist every single quarter, and they're taking a large portion of that to buy Bitcoin to better the community, even though they indirectly have nothing to do with Bitcoin. But this is good. Again, it's taking Bitcoin out of supply. All these things are taking Bitcoin out of supply. It's just that simple. It's really that simple. Here's something else. You may be able to pay your passage through the Panama Canal with Bitcoin soon. That is also something being floated around. When do we hear about that? I don't know how many cargo ships will be paying with Bitcoin, but it may happen. It may happen. You never know. All right. So, what's next? According to analysts, Willy Woo is one of them. Thinks that, we're on our way. We're doing good, but we recently stalled. Our momentum stalled. And we need to get it back, or our peak is not going to be around the corner. We have to wait a little bit. Okay? But there are many other analysts that do not think that think that this is perfectly normal. Like, for example, we tend to test key levels, ones that we have broken out from. That happens often, very, very often, right? And something else that people have pointed out is we follow them to money supply, right? We are about 90 days behind, a 3-month lag. But if you're looking at the M2 money supply, right around this time, we did have a dip. So even the M2 money supply does not go up like this. It still bounces up and down, right? So if you're looking at this, well, then the slight, very, very slight pullback is actually normal and within range. So nothing to be panicked about. This is normal. It's not like we haven't seen this level for months or years. No,